turning of times, Parashat Bo. This is how the astrological transits for the week of January 18 to the 24th weave into the weekly Torah portion Bo. From system disruption to inner decision. Continuing the thread of last week's portion of Va'eira, when we spoke about the first 7 plagues and how they didn't arrive randomly. They began with water, then moved into homes, then into livestock, labor, and health, and eventually into economy and infrastructure. In other words, the plagues moved through the systems that make daily life possible. This wasn't punishment for its own sake. It was systemic disruption, revealing where life had become rigid, extractive, and unsustainable. This week in Parashat Bo, we reach the final 3 plagues, and something very different happens. The disruption turns inward. The last 3 plagues appear in this week's portion, and it brings a shift in direction. The final 3 plagues are darkness, death of the firstborn, and the moment of departure. These are no longer about rivers, land, animals, or labor. They don't attack infrastructure. They confront identity, inheritance, and continuity. Darkness isn't just the absence of light. It's the collapse of meaning. The Midrash tells us this darkness was thick, paralyzing. People couldn't see each other. They couldn't move. This is what happens when a system loses its inner coherence. Then comes the death of the firstborn, which symbolically represents the future, the legacy, the assumed continuation of the way things are. At this point, Egypt doesn't just lose control. It loses its sense of inevitability. And this is where Bo begins. Bo, come, before you go. The Torah portion doesn't say go. It says, Bo, come. Come inward. Come into awareness. Come into conscious choice. Before liberation happens externally, there must be inner consent. This is why the Israelites are instructed to stay inside, mark their homes, eat deliberately, prepare quietly. Freedom doesn't begin with movement. It begins with decision. And this brings us directly into this week's astrology. Mercury, Mars conjunct perfectly in Capricorn, and at the same time they trine Uranus in Taurus retrograde. This week, Mercury and Mars meet in Capricorn, a placement that represents disciplined thought and intentional action. This isn't reactive energy. This is measured, matured, responsible decision-making. At the same time, this conjunction forms a trine to Uranus in Taurus retrograde. Uranus retrograde doesn't explode outward. It restructures from within. So what we are seeing astrologically mirrors the Torah perfectly. Clarity before movement. Inner realignment before outer change. Disruption that becomes intelligent instead of chaotic. This is not the week to burn everything down. It's the week to decide what no longer has authority over you. The sun meets the new moon in Aquarius. the future after Bo. As the sun moves from Capricorn into Aquarius, we shift from endurance to vision. Capricorn teaches us how to hold weight. Aquarius asks what kind of future that weight is meant to support. The new moon in Aquarius offers a quiet reset. Identity, belonging, direction. This is not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. This is earned freedom. Just like Bo teaches, you don't leave Egypt because you're angry. You leave because you're ready. And here is a closing reflection. This week invites you to ask, what inner system has already collapsed? What decision have I already made, even if I haven't acted on it yet? What version of myself is quietly preparing to step forward? May this week be a week where clarity replaces urgency, courage replaces force, and freedom begins from within. Have a good week.